The final part, which is assignment 3, how to print. We're going to be printing from model view, and probably in the advanced AutoCAD course, you're going to learn how to print from the paper view. Now, from the model, right, as we said, we need to bring everything together, make sure that anything that is not on the right layer, it needs to be on the right layer, because when we print, anything on the default point is not going to be showing. So even if you have some stray patterns like what I have here, make sure you put them on the proper layer, because we basically, when we print from model view, anything that is white is not going to be shown, because that's the white paper space. So from the model view, the first thing that we need to print is we're going to print the kitchen floor plan according to scale of 1 to 20. And when we do that, we're going to zoom on that. So we're going to place this in just one sheet, and you're going to be printing the other sheets as well. So I'm going to click on the model and then right click with the mouse. And we're going to go to the page setup manager. From the page setup manager, we're going to click on modify. And from modify, we're going to select the DWG to PDF and acad.ctb. That's the type of plot style we're using. We're also going to be selecting ISO A3. That's the paper size we're printing according to, and 297.420 millimeter. And the scale we're going to be using is 1 to 20. So here, we actually need to change this to 1 to 20. And what to plot, make sure that you click on center the plot, and click on window. Now, window, you have display, you have extents and limits, and window. Window is what we're going to be using, and we're going to click on window. When we click on window, it's going to highlight any window that we selected before. But for us, because we need to go to select that window, or we're going to create, basically, we want to zoom in, or we want to capture the floor plan, the kitchen floor plan alone. We're just going to click and we're going to drag like a rectangle around it. Now, what you see here is saying that, well, maybe the plotting area is exceeding it, or exceeding the size of the page a little bit. So in order for us to be very sure about this, we're going to click on preview. When I click on preview, everything fits in except for the text. Okay, the text is a little bit that will need to be up a little bit. So what you want to do is that you're going to right click and exit. All right. And the one thing that we need to do is we actually need to make sure that we're going to click OK here, and we're going to close that. And then we're going to go back to move, and I'm going to select that text. And then I'm going to move it somewhere here. Okay, so it's within that. Now I'm going to go to the model view again, and then I'm going to click on plot, right? And from plot, I'm going to click on continue to plot a single sheet. We're going to be printing single sheets, and you need to name them accordingly. And again, everything is exactly fit to paper is not selected because we need a scale, and we selected 1 to 20. Now this time I'm going to go to window, all right? I'm going to click and drag that, and then I'm going to click preview. Well, now the text is centered perfectly. So that's exactly what we want to do, is that we want everything within the drawing, or everything on the floor plan to be shown. So this is the way that we're going to be doing it, is that we center the plot, and then we do the window around everything that we have, and then we're going to right click and exit. All right. And we're going to click on apply to layout. Once I click to apply to layout and it's grayed out like this, I'm going to click on OK. And then I'm going to name this kitchen floor plan. Just write it all in small or capital. Okay. And I'm going to click on save. Okay. And immediately that's my sheet. That's the first sheet. Now, chances are, so what if I want to print two things, next to each other, which is something that we're going to be doing. Now, the first thing is, if I want to have, say, for example, 2 elevations or 4 elevations that I'm going to be printing on the same sheet, what I want to do is this. I want to actually go to move them into that distribution. So I'm going to move that, say, for example, that this is my second elevation. I'm going to move it. So I'm just going to select everything and enter. And then I'm going to move it here into position, something like this. And maybe this is also the, I'm going to move that somewhere here. Maybe this is the second elevation. And then I'm going to make a copy of this as if this is the fourth elevation, or this is another detail. So I'm just going to use this. All right, so maybe this is the second sheet that I will be printing, which is elevation sheet, for example. So I'm going to go to model view again and go to page setup manager, go to plot this time, and I'm going to continue to plot a single sheet. And from that, we might need to select a different scale. Well, I'm going to keep that scale, but I'm going to click on window again. Okay, so I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to select those. And I'm going to click on preview. Well, obviously, a lot of things are happening. I mean, I'm not going to be able to pick all of them together. So I'm just going to right click and exit. And now I'm forced to select another scale. Well, what if I use a 1 to 30 scale, or 1 to 50, or 1 to 40? Let's see how this is going to look like. Maybe 1 to 50 is too much. Maybe 1 to 40. 1 to 40 is okay. Maybe 1 to 30. That's too much coming up. So maybe I'm going to go back to 1 to 40 again. I'm going to preview how this is looking like. Okay, probably because we have a lot of things here, you know, on that side, which is the elevation is, I put that in a different layer, so it's not showing, but yours is going to be showing because all of your layers are proper. I didn't properly add the detail to the proper layers. Okay, so this is basically how all your elevations are going to be coming on the same sheet according to the size, because this time, if we're printing a lot of things, let me just put that into the proper layer. Okay, this is 0. Let me put this in a layer 0 so it will show. Not default pointer not going to show by any means. So okay, so I'm going to put everything on layer 0, and I'm going to put this too on layer 0. So you're going to see all the elevations appearing properly on layer 0 as well. Okay, so now let's do that again. I'm going to go to model view. I'm going to go to plot and single plot sheet. And we changed that to, I think, 1 to 30, right? Yeah. And we did a window, and let's preview this. Not this one. This time I'm going to do another window because it keeps the window that you plotted. So I'm just going to click here and do that. Just like that window is a sheet. And 1 to 30, I'm going to click on preview. Okay, so that's actually 1 to 30 worked really well. So you're going to find that each sheet, if the sheet is constant, the sheet size is constant. So I'm going to right click and exit, and I'm going to apply to layout, all right, because that's the ISO A3, and I'm going to click on OK. And after that, I'm going to say, well, this is kitchen elevation. So I'm going to save that. And here we go. That's our nice elevation, cut and neat. And it was all, of course, as we said, you're still lacking dimensions here. You're still lacking dimension on that side. And all of those should be on the proper layer, you know, so you still have to add those to the proper layers. So that's the second sheet that we have. That's the first sheet that we have. And then that's the second sheet. You're probably going to have another sheet for the RCP. So let's do that together. We're going to go to model. We're going to go to the plot. All right, continue to plot a single sheet. And then this time we might change the scale to be 1 to 20. Again, because we printed this according to 1 to 20. So we're going to go to 1 to 20. And we're going to go create a window around that. All right. And we're going to apply to layout. And let's preview that. Okay, great. It's working. Make sure that if you do have any cutting happening, like what happened here, you definitely need to make sure that either the window, okay, is exactly where, I mean, the window is exactly where it should be. But the problem here, I mean, I'm just going to escape that and cancel, is that I have that, okay, a little bit off where the 1 to 20 can capture. So I'm just going to move this also up here. And now let's see if we can plot. I'm going to go to plot here and then continue to plot a single sheet. And then after that, we're going to click on window. And this time I'm trying to make the window smaller as much as possible. Preview, and we're good here. We're good now. So that's the other sheet that is going to be plotted. And if I'm happy with the result, I'm just going to go to apply to layout, say okay. Now, one thing just before you do that, now we used 1:20 scale here and 1:20 scale here. So whatever that's going to be published, okay, I'm going to name this RCP and save. Okay, so what you wrote here as 1:20 is right because this is printed to 1:20. But what if, you know, here, what we have here is not. So we want to make sure that whatever that we put in here, so say, for example, that this is 1:30 because we printed this according to 1:30. Once you figure out in the preview that this is the right from the preview, you know that this is going to work with 1:30. You need to put in all of those values before hitting apply to the view. So, okay, so I need to change those before because what you're going to see in those is that this is 1 to 400. No, it should be 1 to 30 because that's the scale that you printed according to. So because of that, you and definitely also if I have a kitchen elevation, I should also have that 1 to 30 here. So all of those should have the type of scale or the proper scale that you used and you knew from the preview that this is the one that you're going to be using. Okay, and I do expect to have at least so you have to print this on its own sheet. You have to print the kitchen RCP on its own sheet. If you want to put all the elevations and the detail and the section in one sheet, that's going to be fine. There's no problem with that. Okay, so depending on, and then you're going to upload all of those. You're going to upload the DWG file, and you're uploading all of those PDF sheets that you printed for me to see that you printed them accordingly. Okay, so the DWG file that you worked on and all of those PDF sheets, those are the ones that are going to be uploaded to your submission.